In Love is presented by Smile Direct Club, who makes it easier than ever to straighten your smile without brackets, wires, and monthly office visits.
For $100 off your aligners, just go to smiledirectclub.com/podcast and use the offer code
In Love.
Welcome to In Love with Michael Rosenbaum
And Chris Sullivan.
where we explore the universal language of love
Walk through the struggles of love lost.
and together navigate the bumpy and gratifying road to happiness.
Loving me, loving myself, working on my state of mental health. And I never thought it would go this far. You said we'd just be friends, but I'm standing here full of emptiness. I confess, I'm a beautiful mess.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, buddy boy.
How you doing, man?
Doing really well today.
Are you nervous? This is our first real episode.
It's our very first episode, but that means that I haven't had a chance to talk about all the things that I love and that I'm grateful for. So I've got a whole list.
Well, don't you have a wife to do that shit?
To do what? To share that with?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Have you been waiting all this time to share it with me?
God, finally, I have someone I can share my gratitude with. Yeah. No, that's actually, you make a good point. That's a big part of our the way we connect.
Do you always open up to each other? You're always like, is it easy to open up these days to just say whatever's on your mind?
No. Surprise, surprise, it's work. We have to remind ourselves. We have to remind each other. And we just have to kind of, so we surround ourselves with people and friends and family who also remind us to do those things. And it kind of keeps us in the pocket.
Well, I don't have to worry about that. I sleep with two dogs, as you know, Blanche and Irv, who coincidentally are my grandparents out in Florida.
You named them after your grandparents?
Yeah, who are still alive. My grandfather said, well, I'm still alive. You named the dog after me. What the hell is this?
He's upset.
That's how Irv talks, by the way. Not the dog.
Right. How's the dog talk?
The dog, well, drools a lot. Tyler's with us today on our first episode. Tyler's engineering this thing. He's like, do you want me on mic? I'm like, we might, because Tyler, you might be an interesting part of the show.
I might be.
Well, the thing is, I'm straight as far as I know.
Okay.
I know that Chris is married. It could be a beard.
So you say, as far as I know, so much. Like, what is that? Are you planning on exploring it at some point, or what is this?
No.
Sexuality is fluid. Michael understands this. And up to this point, today, you're straight.
Yes, I don't look at men. I'm envious. In fact, I was in this restaurant, Pache, but I was with my two friends, Sarah and Alex. It's funny, as I had just interviewed on my other show, I interviewed Zach Levi, and this pretty girl, Alex, I'm going, I just interviewed Zach, and she's like, oh my God, can you hook me up? And I'm like, I'm sitting with these two girls at dinner, and none of them want me, which is fine. But then I look next to me, and there's this guy, and I didn't look at him like I want him inside me. I actually looked at him and I couldn't stop staring at his beautiful eyes, like yours.
It wasn't like, if you were going to be with a guy, would you be a top or a bottom in that situation? Or do you not have a preference?
You went there pretty fast.
Well,
I'd be a top.
That's my job.
Yeah. You're a topper? I was a hilltopper. Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
What's a hilltopper?
Western Kentucky. That's where I went to college.
What does that even mean?
It doesn't matter. But what I was saying is I was looking at this guy and I was like, this guy has the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. And both girls looked at me like, should we not be here? I'm like, actually, you shouldn't, because I don't have a chance with either of you. But you know what? He has got beautiful eyes. And why can't I say that?
Why can't you say that?
Why can't I look into someone's eyes and be comfortable with my sexuality, Chris, and say, that man is beautiful?
You certainly can say that.
And
I think that the general idea of what a man is, or what is masculine, quote unquote, or what is allowed, is not only kind of laid on us by each other, by other men, but in that case, you two lady friends also were kind of reinforcing the way you should, quote unquote, behave.
Exactly. And Tyler, you're gay.
Yeah, I'm bisexual. I think that's something that's a lot more common now. I don't think that those like rigid gender norms, sexual preference, all of that stuff is put on people my age.
But you do the same thing I do. Well, you look at a woman, you go, God, she's beautiful. I'm looking at her eyes, she's got beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
Not that...
I'm into men and women. Yeah,
I know what bisexual means, Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
I'm aware, but you're right. What I said made it sound like I didn't.
We are a little older, so maybe we don't understand all these terms.
Maybe your audience doesn't know.
All these YOLOs and IRLs.
But wait a minute. It's funny. Last night, I was besides Pache, I was at this little gathering and somebody said YOLO.
They actually said that in the year 2019.
The word YOLO, but I never heard it. I go, what's that? And they laughed at me.
Oh.
And so the girl goes, everybody knows YOLO. You know what it means?
Yeah, it means you only live once. But the thing is that that's like something that like a 35-year-old would say if they're trying to seem cool and young. That's like a 10-year-old thing.
But
that's because we're 5 years behind.
Right,
all right?
exactly.
Give us a chance to experience the cool things as we come to them.
What I'm saying is that he thinks that you're so old, but he's actually a fucking loser.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I like that.
You hear that,
I
Zach
bet
Levi? It was Zach Levi, wasn't it?
No, but I bet like them. I guarantee there's one person at this party that doesn't know that word, and it got to the last person, and that person didn't know. But so I won $100. I didn't make the person pay.
There was a person of an older age in my life who thought that LOL meant lots of love. And so,
I thought it meant that for a long time.
And so was attaching it to sympathy emails. Hey, I'm sorry to hear about your grandfather passing. LOL. I'm sorry we couldn't make it to the party. LOL.
But by the way, could I say something? I think isn't it a little insensitive when someone's father passes? Whatever it meant, do you need to use the acronym?
Should have just spelled it out anyways.
You said lots of love. Instead of LOL, like you're too lazy to say my condolences.
Condolences.
You sick fuck.
Condolences are no time for abbreviation.
Yeah, exactly.
Michael has provided us here at his house with 2 ice-cold glasses of chocolate milk as we record this podcast.
Yeah, this is lactose-free.
And I'm very excited about it.
Let's have a sip.
Are you guys going to get phlegmy on the podcast?
It does get you
that's
phlegmy.
Always good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's for our ASMR listeners.
Hey, so look, Sully, we're here because I called you one day and I said, I loved having you on my podcast. And I was just like, you want to do a podcast together?
Yeah.
I was surprised because you're a busy guy. You got This Is Us. You got all these other shows that you're on, and like you're married, and like, but you're like, yeah, let's talk this out.
Yeah, I think when we did Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum,
yes,
we had an excellent conversation, and we'd met before. We'd hung out briefly, not a whole lot,
on Guardians,
but on Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I had always found you to be a sincere and delightful energy to be around. So when you asked me to do a podcast, it provided me with an opportunity to do something. I heard, I don't know if it was on your podcast or it was on some podcast. Kristen Bell was interviewed, and
I interviewed her.
I know you did, but I don't know if she said it in this interview, where she said, I maintain my fame and notoriety so that I can direct the attention to the causes that I want attention pointed at, and so that I can continue to make money to donate to the things and support the things that I love. And I thought that is a perfect way to frame the kind of fallout of fame, or the result of fame, which is a publicity or a notoriety. And I thought that a podcast would be a great time to talk about the things we love, talk about the things we're grateful for, talk about the things we want to support, and spread that around.
Yeah, because there's a lot of negativity around. And by the way, Kristen Bell is the person who talks the talk, walks the walk.
Right.
She does do that. You see her, and it's nice to see people who are actually, Mark Messier he's a hockey player, played for the Rangers, and whether you like hockey or not, he was a guy who's like, a real man, a real person, human being, is the person when that the cameras are not rolling, that they're actually doing something, that they're actually helping. They're not just looking to get, oh, look, he's so helpful. Oh my God, he's such a philanthropic human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
now,
I think that's important.
Now, people may not know this about you, but you love hockey. You are in love with the game of hockey. You want to marry hockey.
I do love it.
You want to marry it.
Yeah.
And maybe people have heard you talk about it on Inside of You, but right now you are sitting in front of a wall of, I'm counting, 9 professional signed hockey jerseys.
Yeah.
What is it about the game of hockey that you love?
For me, it's an escape. It's one of the few escapes I have to get out of my head. And when I go play hockey, I forget about everything except, I think people do that with any sport, with any, activity. It's like to get away, to be present in what you're doing. When you're playing hockey, you're not thinking of social media. You're not thinking of, I have to memorize lines. I have to Even if you're going through something that's tough, I think it's very important in a healthy way.
And you've played for a long time, right?
Played a long time. I've had a lot of back surgeries. I had a neck surgery, maybe another one coming. So I've dealt with a lot of pain from it. It's been worth it, but has it been? Has it been worth it? That's actually a different thing.
What did it bring you as a kid?
Look, I was born in New York, and my dad, he loved hockey. And when we moved to Indiana, he'd ship us off to Canada, and we'd play with these Canadian kids who were far better than us. And my dad was president of the hockey league. He was very tough love. We talk about upbringing and like you're a product of your own environment. My father was not the guy who says, "I'm proud of you. I love you. I am grateful for you. He was not that guy.
But this was something that he loved. Hockey. He loved
hockey.
And this was maybe an inroad for you to get closer to that person.
You know what? This is the first time I ever thought of that. I never thought of it that way because I thought I liked hockey, because I loved hockey, but really it's my father who got me into hockey.
Right.
And in fact, most of our relationship has always been like sports. Nothing really deep, nothing really, it's all been surfaced until lately.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has that initial thing that brings them together. The only question is, as your relationship grows, do you deepen beyond that? Do we deepen beyond the lunch that we had, or the movie that we worked on, or are we gonna talk only about business, or only about the industry, or are we going to talk about the harder stuff, which is what we're here to do?
Yeah, and I think if you want to be like, for me, the reason I want to do this with you is because I want to be better. I want to be better to my friends. I want to be better. Not that I'm a bad person at all. I'm just saying there's always room for improvement. There's always room to be a better person, to feel better about yourself, self-worth. Like, I was talking to Zach Levi, again, to say his name, but he is so much about you have to love yourself before you can love another. You really have to do the work. You really have to do the work and learn to be grateful. And being grateful is a necessity. It really is. And by the way, what are you grateful for? This relationship sort of started because Chris Sullivan, who I'm sitting next to or across from, he's sitting in my chair that I do my podcast in. He's in charge today. But
on your podcast, we talked about gratitude.
Right. Well, you started texting me.
Well, on the podcast we started talking about gratitude, and I said that every day I have a gratitude practice where I send a text to
a friend
to
or
several
whoever.
different groups of people now, because people want in. It's amazing. People want in. They want an opportunity to express their gratitude.
Yeah.
Because it puts you in a state of mind that is about the things the bounty, the things that you have, not the things that you lack. And you and Rob said, we should do that.
Yeah.
And so we did.
And it became something that was really special, where at first it seems a little weird. And I think it was weirder for Rob, because Rob's sort of like this recluse. Rob's the producer on Inside my podcast.
29 years old, just had a kid.
29. But, I didn't think he was going to include himself in this. And all of a sudden it was like, Chris, you'd start out with, Michael, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for my beautiful wife. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning and whatever it was. And then I felt like, I felt comfortable. This is a grown man, a large man, a tall man that is being able to open up about his feelings. And so I felt like, hey, I could do this then. If Chris Sullivan could do this. So I was like, hey, I'm grateful that you got me to do this. I'm grateful for my dogs. I'm grateful for my wonderful assistant, Jess, who puts up with me and, helps me out here. Mm-hmm. And that became something. And I think it's funny. I went to cognitive behavioral therapist. Mm-hmm. And this is the kind of things they talk about. And people are like, oh my God, therapy, this, that. But cognitive behavioral therapy is all about changing the way we think.
Shifting your perspective.
Shifting your perspective. Instead of waking up like, oh my God, I got to go do Rosenbaum's fucking podcast and engineer it, says Tyler. It's more about going, hey, you know what? I got a job. I'm excited about it. I like working with Michael and Chris, if that's what you do. And this is going to be a great day. And changing that thought, as silly as it may appear, the brain is such a powerful thing. And I've learned that if you just go, I'm not going to honk my horn. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to smile. I'm going to put on a little Chicago. If you leave me now, it works. And if you just try it and you do it, look, it doesn't always work. Sometimes you're in a pissy mood, and sometimes it's hard to.
Yeah.
But if you could just every once in a while, it does help life out.
Yeah, sometimes, like this morning when I woke up, one of the things that I am grateful for today is my anxiety, but not only my anxiety, my ability to recognize it, because I was coming here to do this first podcast with you. So all of these things, what are we going to talk about?
I couldn't sleep.
What am I going to say?
Yeah.
What Michael and I are taking it. This is literally us going on our first date. We are deepening our relationship, and we're doing it in front of people.
And if it works, it works. But this is for us and for people out there.
Exactly. And so the anxiety that I was having, I had to realize that if I struggle against it and I try to ignore it, it's only going to get worse. But if I can recognize it, figure out what it's trying to teach me, and kind of sink in, allow it, let it be what it is, turn on a little Chicago.
Baby, please don't go.
Then everything's going to work out just fine.
I think that's the key to just see. It's the power of the power of your mind, the power of the mind to change the way you think.
Power of positive thinking.
I always think that, here's what I say, and maybe not. It's not the best because I'm not a doctor. We're not doctors here. We're not telling you what to do. We're just giving some perspective and getting perspective from you. The big thing is we have a hotline. The love hotline that people will call in on the number 323-207-5676. We want to hear from you. We want to know your questions, what you're thinking. And by the way, if you want to tweet us, if you want to, here we got some handles here for you. This is the new show. Instagram, we're at In Love Podcast. All right. Facebook, In Love Podcast. Twitter, In Love Podcast. That's pretty easy
simple
to remember. You got questions, follow us, support us.
Yeah, we want to hear your
subscribe.
questions about relationships, about love, how it's gone right, how it's gone wrong.
Yeah, I hope I fall in love by the end of this, the end of this run. If we, on our 100th episode, I get married. Is that going to happen?
You know what? Mark this day. By the 100th episode, maybe Michael
will be engaged.
Is in a successful relationship. Engaged to be wed.
Let's not jump the gun. Let's just say I'll be in a successful relationship.
Let's say Michael at episode 100 is in a successful, loving, and vulnerable relationship.
This is something you can never let your future girlfriend hear. If she knows that it's the baseline and is like Michael's trying to get married by episode 100 or trying to be in this relationship by 100, she'll know you're gaming the system.
Tyler, I changed it.
Okay.
Not marriage.
No.
Let's just be in a successful relationship.
Okay.
Let's shift enough perspectives.
Horse before the cart, buddy.
Let's shift enough of Michael's perspectives.
I like this.
That he can navigate a successful relationship.
Or episode 100 is the wedding episode, and you record it live on the day.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
YOLO.
YOLO, you guys.
In Love is presented by Smile Direct Club, Chris.
That's right, Michael.
Our good friends at the Smile Direct Club.
I was really happy about this partnership because I have some things with my teeth that I've always wanted to fix.
Yeah, you were concerned. We went down to the Smile Shop.
Yeah, we went down to the Smile Shop here in Beverly Hills and got some 3D scans and let them know the things that we'd like to fix with our teeth. And it was so simple.
Yeah, they're very concise, quick, friendly. You get this 3D thing of your teeth. You see your teeth instantly. No going in for like those molds at a dentist,
And I had braces as a kid. Wires, brackets, cutting my mouth, cutting my gums, the rubber bands that would pull my jaw in and out of place. And I didn't wear them long enough. And I kept growing. And so my teeth didn't stay straight. And so now I have Smile Direct Club, and they are going to redeliver the smile that I've always wanted.
Get started without leaving the comfort of your home.
Find out if you're a candidate by taking the free 30-second smile assessment on their website.
And as one of our listeners, you'll get $100 off your aligners.
Just go to smiledirectclub.com/podcast and use the offer code INLOVE.
SmileDirectClub.com/podcast. Offer code
INLOVE.
YOLO. Let's get to our first question in the hotline.
Hi, my name is Lucy, and I want to know about the time when you first fell in love and how you knew it was love and not just, a stomachache.
Did you say stump cake?
Yeah, how you knew it was love and not a stump cake.
I didn't hear the last word.
Stomachache.
Stunk face.
This is my question. This is for Rosie. How do you know the difference between love and stump cake?
I swear on my life I didn't hear it. Lucy, the first time we were in love. Go ahead, Chris.
No, go for it. Go for it.
You.
Oh, he's
first time I was in love?
Chocolate milk,
Coagulation throat. Mm-hmm. You know, there's this girl, Shoshana. I'll just say it. I don't give a shit. It was years ago, but it was, remember Jerry Seinfeld dated a girl. Her name was Shoshana. And they broke up, and I met Shoshana through a friend, and we sort of fell in love. She got married. She has 3 kids and all that stuff. But she was, upper class, let's say. She comes from a really wealthy family, very classy. Mm-hmm. I'm from Indiana. I drive a van.
Yeah. You fart and sit on the counter while you eat yogurt.
But I thought she appreciated that for the most part. We got along really well. I went and stayed at her apartment with her family for like a couple of months. I walked her to work every day because at that point my show, I think, was canceled that I was on years ago called Zoe or something. But I really... That was the first time that I actually felt like I just felt something so strong and powerful and butterflies, and I didn't want to.
So what was
be away
different?
From this
what
person.
was different from the feelings before?
The feelings before, I think, were superficial, and I was in college, and you just kind of fuck. You know, you meet girls and girls meet guys, guys meet girls at a party, and you're just like, you have beers, you have fun, you have sex. Sex doesn't mean anything. I don't know what I'm doing. They know I don't know what I'm doing. They tell me I don't know what I'm doing. But there's something when there's a connection, when you're mature enough. And I'm not saying I'm the most mature person in the world, that's for sure. But maturity is relative. Maturity is, for me, I always say, maybe it's a cop-out, but it's about responsibility. I feel like it's a big part of, I'm a responsible person. But it was the first time I just felt like I care about this person. I genuinely want them to do better. I want them to be happy. I just want to be around this person all the time. So I remember she was I think probably my first love.
Who made you want to elevate yourself to a different level of connection?
Yeah, but the problem was at that point, and still I struggle with it, is like the self-worth thing. Even though I have this pseudo-confidence where everybody thinks, oh my God, you're so confident, you can walk into a room and take over. And I do, but it's out of insecurity because it's hard being myself.
Sure.
And I feel like if I'm just myself, no one's going to give a shit. But if I'm big and funny, they're like, I want to be around that guy.
That's the crux of the matter right there.
It is.
I think that's what we have to get past to get us to episode 100. People will love you for you, Michael.
I know. But I feel like, what if I just if I just didn't think of a witty line? Mm-hmm. If I just didn't say, you said something and I thought I'm going to say something witty and then I chose not to say it. Negative cognitive behavioral therapy. If I just decided not to be funny, not to be engaged. No, that's not what it's about.
Or just to listen instead of, because that was a big thing for me for a long time, was taking up too much space in a relationship. Essentially, if there's a certain amount of air in the room, I needed 90% of it.
Yeah.
And the other 10% was just there to further my bits, to further my stories,
Selfish.
to further my opinions. It was selfish, it was self-centered, it was narcissistic. And the first time I fell in love, I was very young. I was a kid. And the idea of love for me changed every time it happened. It evolved every time. And every time I thought I was in love, I would look back at the last time I was in love. I'd go, okay, well, that wasn't it. This is it. Okay, well, that wasn't it. This is it. So I think it's less important if we're evolving to think about the first time we fell in love, and more important to think about the last time we fall in love. The most recent time, and that would be with my wife. And the big difference, my wife Rachel, #WonderWife on Instagram. She doesn't even have an account. She doesn't need it. She doesn't need your external what's the word I'm looking for? External validation. Thank you, Tyler, for validating my
we got Tyler here for the brains.
Falling in love is less about finding the right partner, and it's more about being the right partner. So there are plenty of people out there that you could fall in love with. There are many people who you could have a relationship with. It's different every time because you change every time, hopefully. You mature every time, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so the difference this last time with Rachel is that I found a person that I wanted to make feel safe. I wanted to make her feel seen. I wanted to make her feel loved and considered. And I wanted to do that at the expense of anything self-serving. And
that's hard to do.
It took me a long time. It didn't start out that way.
Right.
But I knew that this was a person who I loved, not for the idea of them, but in spite of their flaws, because of their flaws, including their flaws. Getting into a relationship to change somebody else is just never going to work. And that's not love. Like,
right.
That's not a commitment.
But don't you think that love can sort of be convoluted, or like if you have amazing sex with someone, all right, and I've had those very occasionally where it's just like, oh my God, there's so much passion that you mistake passion for love. The sex is so good. I have so much fun with this person, but it's not love.
No, not even close. Because it's a brain chemistry reaction.
Yeah.
Sex is adrenaline, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, oxytocin, all of these things, this cocktail of brain drugs that are being released, and it kind of can give you a head fake, a false positive on the feeling of intimacy, the feeling of vulnerability, the feeling of connection. And love is actually outside of that and is much more kind of tangible and for me anyways, it involves the things that you can do and the way that you make another person feel.
Yeah. Next question.
Hey, Sully and Rosie. What do you do when you love somebody but you don't like them, like at all? You don't get along, but you can't stop thinking about them.
That sounds like my mother. You know, it's funny. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
And it's not even related. Like, I love my mother. She's my mother. She had me. She gave birth to me. She says this to me all the time. She makes me feel guilty. You only have one mother. I love my mother. If something, God forbid, happened to my mother, I would feel terrible. I would be, I'd be grief stricken. But one day she was crying. She's like, I know you love me, but I don't think you like me. And I just looked at her and I said, I don't. And that was,
wow.
It was the first time I ever said that to her. I was like, I don't. I love you, Mom. I would do anything for you. I love you, but I just don't like you. That's a difficult thing to say to your mother, let alone anyone. But it was truth, because I wanted her to know at that time that she cannot walk all over me. She cannot treat me or anyone the way she does sometimes. And I didn't like that about her. So I don't even know if it meant I didn't like her. It was I didn't like how she acted. But you know, I'm the one person in the family who just, you know, I don't allow her. I have set guidelines. I set like, you know, if she calls me, talk about you, Mom, or ask me about me. Don't talk about shit about my sister. Don't talk shit about Dad. Don't talk shit about anybody, or I'm hanging up the fucking phone. And that's how I deal with it.
Right.
Again, we're not therapists here, folks.
No, but but we've both been through.
We've been through a lot,
quite a bit,
and people have been through a lot worse.
But that's boundaries.
Yeah.
And that translates into love. Like, tell me if this is true. It's less that you don't like your mom and more that you don't like the way she makes you feel.
Yes. Every time she calls, for a long time, I thought, whenever you think someone.
What happens? Anxiety?
Well,
fear.
But and it's also like, I think that what we do is, as human beings, and this what I'm about to tell you is called fantasy. If you think someone's going to just change, or you think you could change them, that is fantasy, and you, my friends, are crazier than they are. That is the truth. And I'm not a therapist, but I'm telling you, if you really think you can change someone.
My therapist recently told me, he said, most people spend more time trying to change other people.
Preach it.
Rather than expanding their window of tolerance. We cannot control things that are outside of ourselves. So back to this question. This person who you love and who you do not like, you need to shift your perspective. Like, if you have love for this person and you would do anything for them, then what work do you need to do mentally and emotionally to shift your perspective on where this person is coming from? Because people don't behave in certain ways for no reason. This person could be in a lot of pain. This person could be very, very angry. This person could be very, very insecure. I have behaved in ways that I have had to apologize for because I am insecure. You get me on set in a role where it's a little too much for me, and I think it's a little too much for me, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull this off.
What happens?
And I start snapping at PAs, or
because it's your own insecurity,
or making passive aggressive comments about how fast we're moving, or and I have to sit with myself and realize that it's fear and it's insecurity, and that it has nothing to do with me. Like this person who you love but you do not like, they are not behaving in a certain way to hurt you. Barring a sociopath, if you're encountering a sociopath or a psychopath being very rare, but if you're encountering a sociopath, that's a whole different story. But this person is not behaving in a certain way to hurt you. It's not about you. And that's where all of our narcissism kind of turns in on itself. And we find ourselves in these situations.
That's interesting. That's interesting that you say that, because that's absolutely, I think that's true with at least me, that you do things because of fear. Like, somebody will call me, even like a very surfaced bad analogy is, someone, they'll call about a job. Hey, they want you to do this. And the first thing I say is, nah, that doesn't sound like it for me. I don't want, because I'm scared. I'm like scared. And once I commit, once I get into it, then that starts to go away and it becomes more of a passion. So I think a lot of times initially, it's about taking a beat. It's about being patient, I think. Hearing you say that was very honest, where you're just, you say something and then you realize it's not them. It's not the other person. It's me.
It very rarely is.
And that's interesting. And I think that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's an important distinction, though, between like a relationship with your mom, which whether or not you engage with it is always going to exist, and like somebody who has a crush on somebody and doesn't like them. Like maybe they're just not that great of a person. You think that you love them.
I've had that actually with a girl that I dated long time ago, but I felt like I loved her. I did feel like I was like, I love this person, but I do not like them. And that was just the way it was. I was like, I don't like them, but I do love them. And I love being around them, and I love a lot, but I just do not like them. And that's just a recipe for disaster. Yeah. You have to really like someone. You have to like what they're about. You have to love and like, or there's a big difference. And I never thought about that.
I keep wanting to say, and I don't think this is true, that you can't love someone unless you like them.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you like yourself, Chris?
I do.
You love yourself?
I do.
It's taken some time, hasn't it?
I do, and it takes work. And it takes a lot of focusing on gratitude. It takes a lot of positive reinforcement, because I've been there as well. And I think that in those situations, I probably needed to take a closer look at what my definition of love is. And you're right. It's different with family. That's a different thing, because that relationship is always there. But just because I saw this play called Annapurna, up in Portland, Oregon, and the last line of this play was, just because you're no longer with someone doesn't mean you're not in relationship to them. These relationships that we have, we make these some would call it a karmic connection. We connect on a soul level. We share love. We make love with this person. We create love with this person. And just because you're no longer together doesn't mean that a certain part of your emotional life or your mental life is not still connected to that person. And so it's trickier than just moving on and assuming that it's all over.
I like this love hotline.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
207-567-6323 is the number. Let's go to the next question.
I recently had my very first threesome and found it was kind of hard to keep both partners satisfied at the same time. Do you guys have any tips on that? And what to do if there's jealousy in that situation?
I certainly do. That's not true. I only had one threesome in my life, and it was a fantastic experience, one that will never happen again. I was in my 20s. It's impossible. In fact, right when you said that, I have this story is I'm not. The one thing I'll tell you is we're not going to lie in this show. We don't have time for it. This is about honesty and about like shit that's happened to us, and hopefully your experiences and our experiences can help each other ultimately. But I'll tell you, I was in New York and I was at my friend Kennan's apartment when we went out one night, and I met these two girls, and the one was really into me, and we went back and we were all having drinks and stuff, and she goes, "Hey, come over, let's go to the bathroom." I was like, "Okay." Remember, I'm 25, 26, and she was like, she comes in there, we start making out. She goes, "Do you want me to get my friend?" I'm like, "Yes." And she went and got her friend, And I was like, and I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but I remember my bag, because I'm staying at my friend Kennan's house, and my toiletry bag's there, so I have a condom, so it was perfect. But I was also, I think, on ecstasy. And, I don't do that shit anymore. Well, I did Molly at Burning Man 2 years ago, but that was the first time in 10 years. See, I'm not going to lie to you. I remember thinking, one, I can't believe this is happening, and two, can I keep a heart on? And I started having sex as they're kissing each other, and I'm having sex with one, and they keep spinning around. And I'm having sex with these two girls that are beautiful girls. Then they fly out to California, because that's where I live, and they come see me. And we have sex again. And then the one girl says, I'm going to go. And I'm like, what's the matter with her? It dawned on me, and her friend told me that you were giving me too much attention and not her enough. I didn't think that, but ultimately that's what's going to happen. You can't time it where it's 3 minutes for you, 3 minutes for you. Or there's just things that the other person's going to witness that's going to say, oh, he likes her more, or she likes him more, or that's just the way it is. And that's always a risky thing. That's why I never understood open relationships. It just can't work, because there is the idea that somebody's going to meet someone if you have that open relationship, and they're going to meet someone, and there's that fear. And so having a threesome, you just have to honestly. And like I said, I'm 46 years old. I've only had one, so I haven't had a lot of experience. This is a one-time lottery winning night for me, and I'll say that everybody involved has to know it's what it is. Don't start thinking, oh, does he like me more? Does she like me more? Just do what you're doing and have fun, and don't get in your heads.
Right.
I mean, how do you do that? Have you had threesomes?
And this is a great kind of example of why this podcast is great to have structured this way, because we have Michael, who is still single and who is experiencing life from this perspective, and then myself, who is in a long-term committed marriage that is full of love, and so
I've been in love,
and so it's not about being dishonest, but I will say that there are certain things that I don't talk about publicly in order to protect the boundaries of my intimate relationship.
Right.
I will say this, the idea of this threesome that this lady is talking about is an excellent metaphor for the way you connect with people, especially if you're getting into a relationship. Now, I don't know anything about, there's no mathematical equation to a successful threesome. I don't know if there are that many to be had anyways. I've heard Ram Dass say open relationships tend not to work out. But then again, a lot of closed relationships don't work out either. In couples therapy is called othering. And it's when you bring a third thing into your relationship that gets in the way of the connection between you and your primary partner, whether you're married, dating, committed, whatever it is. And that doesn't even have to be another person. That could be work. That could be drugs. That could be alcohol. That could be a parent who you give intimate energy to, and it affects your primary relationship. So the reason why you may be having difficulties here is because it's very difficult to split intimate energies in a successful way.
Yeah.
People want that connection.
And don't you think you're just going to be attracted to someone by nature a little more than the other? That's just the reality.
It seems like it would be a very hard and it would take three very conscious and awake people to have a successful interaction like that.
Unless you're having sex with twins.
Which is incest.
I'm not saying I have. I'm saying
they weren't twins.
But I'm saying that they're the same physiologically. Like they look, like if they're identical, then maybe there's. But like if there's a blonde and there's a brunette, and the guy likes a blondes better, that's all I'm saying here.
It can also be weird dynamics, like two people are in a relationship, or all the people know each other, or two people are more friends than the other. Like,
right.
There can be weird dynamics.
It could be breath.
All of those insecurities that we were talking about before are flying around that room. Everyone is in their own head. Everyone is worried. Everyone is self-conscious. Everyone is, like I said, it would take three very awake individuals.
Do we want to go to another caller?
Let's do one more.
Yeah, we should do one more.
Let's do one more.
Let's do it.
This one's really great. Michael, you might recognize this voice.
No, this is Tom Welling. I have an itch and I just can't scratch it. Give me a call back. You know my number.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That was Tom, right?
Tom Welling, Superman himself.
I'll tell you, if Tom Welling moved to, I don't know, South Carolina.
Tom, thanks for calling. About that itch, I would recommend an expandable metal back scratcher. They fit in your pocket. They have a little clip like a pen. I use them, and they get in there. You can get them from any angle.
Wow. Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
What's funny
Tom.
was, I'm thinking, Tom Welling would do this. He would call and say something stupid like
Well, he
that.
just did.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
we could call this guy back. There's an option right here to call him if we wanted to.
Well, I don't think there's a reason to call him back because he's probably just being a jokester.
He said, call me back, you know my number. I mean, that's definitely Tom.
If Tom talks like that, he should be in the new Breaking Bad.
He's one of your best friends.
He's a genius. I don't.
We
think
recognize Tom, and you don't recognize Tom.
I'm not sure it was Tom. But you could Instagram him and ask him if it was.
Yeah, everyone reach out to Tom Welling on Twitter and Instagram and thank him for his phone call to the In Love podcast.
We have a thing that we're doing that's is like a playlist, a love playlist, right?
So we both love music.
Love.
And music has the power to reach people in any language and any part of this planet.
That's true.
And to really make people feel what? Feel love.
Feel love. In fact, this was not my idea, but the song for the show In Love With is you chose it. You're like, hey, Rosie, this is your song? I'm like, yeah. It's called Beautiful Mess. You're like, this should be the song for the show. I'm like,
top of the show.
like,
Michael's
really?
Beautiful voice.
So if you want to listen to that shit, the album's coming out, Left on Laurel, follow us and all that crap. But, we're talking about songs to add to the playlist. So you guys could help us. So let's
tell them what it is. We're going to start.
Go ahead.
We're going to start a playlist on iTunes with the songs, and every week we're going to add songs to it that give us the feeling of love, of sexy time, of intimacy, of nostalgia, that bring us to a place of positivity. And we're going to have this playlist grow every week. Every week we'll add at least one song to it, but you can help us do that.
Right. So if you tweet us, Instagram us at In Love Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Say, Sully and Rosie, I like this song. At least listen to it. And, maybe, we'll look at something and we'll go, hey, you know what? How do we miss that song?
And we love it. We love it. It'll give us a chance to hear some new music, to kind of expand our horizons. This week, I am going to put a song from my buddy Dan Mills on the list. And the song is called Sell the Furniture. And it is one of... I'm going to say this. It is one of my top 5 favorite songs of all time.
Jesus.
Period. The song is beautiful. There's a lyric in there where he says, I should have never turned my back on all the songs that I was too afraid to write, and now they're keeping me up at night.
That's tasty.
I love it so much. And his guitar playing is beautiful. The whole EP is great, but the track is called Sell the Furniture.
And you can find that on iTunes, Spotify, all that shit.
All that stuff. And we're gonna tack it on the end of this episode.
I love that. My song that I thought of this week was a song that's kind of from like 2009, and it's by this artist Greg Laswell. Sing Teresa Says is the name of the song. Sing Teresa, and I believe
you played this for me right before the podcast. It was amazing.
And I think it was his grandmother who came to him in his dream. And the chorus is, sing Teresa says, sing happy things. Sing Teresa says, if I do everything, one day a man will spring, worth loving. It brought tears to my eyes the first time I heard it because I was like, one day a man will spring. Like I will grow into a man.
Yes.
And I'll be worth loving. And I felt so emotionally attached to this song and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So Sing Teresa Says by Greg Laswell is my song of the week. So check that out.
If your life is a song, Michael, and you sing it and you sing of happy things and you sing a true song, a man will emerge who is worth loving.
What are you saying? Are you saying
I'm just saying that's an incredible message from the song.
It is, and I think that's what I aspire to. That's part of the why we're here. It's just like I want to think more. I want to think of how to be a better person. That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Absolutely.
So, look, this was our first episode. We appreciate it. We're going to have guests in the future. We're going to bring in couples to talk about their relationship, and we love hearing from you. I really enjoy this hotline, so call that 323-207-5676.
And help us spread the word. If you could rate, review, subscribe on iTunes, that would be very helpful. If you are looking to expand your consciousness and make yourself a better person, tell all your friends.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @InLovePodcast. Tell us what you think. Keep calling in, keep listening, and all right, everybody, fall in love, will you?
Taking us out is Dan Mills from his EP, Small Talkin' Saturdays, with a song called Sell the Furniture.
It took me over so like no again. The names keep blending into one. Excuse me, miss, could you please tell me where I'm walking? I just moved here.
And once again, a huge thanks to our presenting sponsor, Smile Direct Club. For huge discounts, go to smiledirectclub.com/podcast and use our offer code INLOVE.